Okay, everyone pay attention. We are going to discuss a little bit about auto layout right now. Silence. Right now we have taken one frame, okay? If you're not able to see anything, please let me know. And then I'm going to put one more frame over here. Just going to select a different this one, and then going to place some text inside the frame. And I'm going to make the text centered and vertically and horizontally centered, okay? And I'm also going to give some corner radius which will round those things up. I'm going to give it maybe 30, okay? Sorry, you're not able to see this? Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to option drag it. Whenever I press option, you should be able to kind of like do this, and then if you press command D after that, it will kind of like, you know, multiply and duplicate, okay? And then I'm just going to change excuse me. Okay, so now we have a frame, and inside of the frame we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements, okay? Before going to auto layout, I want to explain you something else, okay? So does A have a parent frame? I need answers over here. Does A have a parent frame? What is the parent frame? Frame 110, right? What is the parent frame for this? This is the parent frame. Okay, now I want you to even try this on your laptops. Press on any particular frame in any other object and try to press shift enter. Please see what happens. Click on any child element, click on shift and click on enter and see what happens. If you're not able to click over here, I don't know if you can do it. Can you do it? If not, please on your practice file or on your assignment file somewhere. I'm asking you, so go to your own files, right? Like, yeah, I'll just open this one up. Okay, now for example, see on your own file, right? Click on any element which is also inside one more frame, right? Then clicking on that element, press shift enter. What will happen is it will go to the parent of it. Does it make sense? Okay, what if I just press enter directly? In this typography, if I press enter directly, what is happening? It's selecting the children. So enter means it will trickle down. In other words, select all the child elements of the parent frame. If you're pressing shift enter, it's going one level back. Does it make sense? So let's go back over here and okay, I'm pressing this. So outside of A, what is the parent frame for A? The parent frame for A is this box, is it not? And so if I press shift enter, so the box is getting selected. What is the parent frame to that? If I press again shift enter, the whole frame is getting selected. Make sense? Okay. All right. And I also want you to observe one more thing. Whenever I click on these things, can you see a small dashed line? Yeah. Do you know what this is? Anyone who used Figma before? So alignment is this, So for example, when I click on this, on the right hand side, I have positioning, right? If I click on this one, it is aligned to the left. But can you see that the lines are not actually changing? It's not about that. Sure, like if you click on it, this X is actually the X dimension and Y is Y. You understand that. But these are called constraints. How this is helpful? Let me check, okay? So for example, I reduce the frame size. Is anything changing over there? Is anything changing? No. But why is that? Because whenever I click on any of these elements are constrained to the top and left. So irrespective of however we kind of like change the size of it, they are not going to change. But we can change those constraints. So we can click on the last element, for example. And now in the positioning section, can you see that it's constrained to left and top, yes? Now in here we can say, instead of left, we can say to right, okay? And then what will happen, if at all I expand this, can you see that now it is actually moving because it's actually constrained to the right hand side of the artboard. Does that make sense? One second guys, I need to close my Figma and open up. Okay. Okay, please observe. So now what will happen if I constrain it to the bottom? If I click on this, now it is constrained to the bottom. Now if at all I expand this container, what will happen? It will move to the bottom. Pretty simple enough. Okay. So let's do this right now. I'll just undo all of these things. Okay, now what can be left and right? If it is constrained to left and right, what will happen? I just want you to think before we actually do it. No, it's okay, tell me. Okay, someone is saying it will expand as we kind of like do it. Okay, that's you already did it. Okay, left and right. We are taking the first one to left and right. Can you see it when I click on it? Now we have a dashed line to the left and right. Okay, let's take one more thing. What if we constrain it to the saying scale? What will happen? So let's see that. Okay. Okay. So this is scaling and this is constrained to left and right. So once I expand my container, what is happening? Yes. In other words, if the container is expanding, that whole element will also expand left and right. That's the property of left and right. Okay. Now let's go back to these things. So if we put it as center, right, so no matter how it is, it will always stay in the center. So these are the normal constraints. We are not going to use these things as much as auto layout, but I want you to understand them so that wherever it's necessary, we can use them, okay? So I'll just like go ahead and kind of like go back to all of these things. Okay, now what I want to do is this frame in auto layout right now? Is this frame in auto layout right now? What is the auto layout symbol over here on the screen? This small symbol, right? The rectangle, the square and the plus icon. Okay, whenever it's in blue, the auto layout is actually being applied. Okay. Now can you tell me, if I apply the auto layout, what will happen to this particular element? To the parent, if I apply auto layout, what will happen over here? What is auto layout? What does it do? We talked a little bit about it, right? Many people raise their hands saying that you know auto layout. So what does it do? Yeah. So basically what do we use auto layout for is that, I'll just give an example. I'll bring this up. Okay, please observe. Can you see a lot of elements on the screen over here right now? If at all I expand this, what is happening? All of the elements are expanding and the whole height of the container is also coming down depending on what the content is placed inside. So in other words, auto layout can be something called as a dynamic element which actually expands and contracts according to the content inside of it, right? And also what it is doing, it is also taking, not only changing the size of the container, it's also taking care of the spacing, margins, paddings and everything for you. You're not touching anything anywhere, right? What if I write one more line in this? For example, I copy this and place this. Can you see that the whole thing kind of like came down a little bit? So it's managing all the spacing as well. it also has a capability to shift things. So if I want to kind of like place things inside, we can kind of like change the order and sequence of events, right? We can do that. And what if I add a new element? For example, I have a frame over here. Okay, and if I add it over here, what will happen? Because I'm adding that, it will take the space for that whole thing and kind of like push everything down. So it is more dynamic in that sense, right? Makes sense? So I'll just like undo those things. And I want to tell you one shortcut. So if you press Command Y on your screen, it's going to bring up the layers. So you might not be able to see the layers of what is behind these things, but if you press Command Y, then you can see the frames in what it is encapsulated in, okay? So for example, if you see this whole thing is contained in one particular frame, and then each of these points are actually in one single frame, right? Each of the point have one single frame. And in that again, we have a frame for the icon, and then a frame for the heading and this one, and then again a smaller frame for these things, okay? This is just to show the layout for you. We'll explain how we'll do these things, okay? There is also one more thing what you can do is that when you press, right now it is in design, there is a small little dev mode icon next to the design, if you're able to see it over here. Once you click on that, it is going into dev mode, okay? Now, if you kind of like click on anything, right, it will kind of like give you all of these things. So, if I click on the main container, it will tell you exactly what are the paddings from top, right, left and bottom. Can you see that? Instead of clicking on one thing and trying to measure all of these things, you can kind of like directly visually do that. If I want to know more about this particular thing, I click on that and it will only tell me the padding which is involved in that particular thing. Make sense? And if I go, for example, okay, I also want to show you this. Oh, yeah, please take care of this for me. Thanks. Okay. Once I'm clicking on this, if I want to go back to the parent element, Shift Enter. What is the parent element of it? I was clicking on this element, right? What is the parent element selected right now? The paragraph and the title are in one frame. If I press Shift Enter right now, what is the parent? The paragraph, this both were already in one frame. Now all of these things are in one frame. If I press Shift Enter again, now this whole point is one frame. What is the parent of that single point? This whole point, whatever is there in one section. What is the parent of that whole section? The main frame, which is consisting of all of those things. So it's not magical that these things are over here like this. It's being orderly placed in a certain way so that we can maintain that layout, so that we can do all of those things. Does it make sense? That is how auto layout is able to understand. Whenever we keep something in the between, right, it's able to move things here and there because they're in their own individual frames. Does that make sense? Okay. I hope you understand what that is, in description at least. Now let's go back over here. So I'm clicking on this again so that I deactivate the dev mode. I click on the design file. Okay. Now I want to also let you know the shortcut for this. If you press Shift A is called auto layout. You can either click on this and press on this icon, or right click on it and say add auto layout, or even say Shift A. Okay. Now I'm pressing Shift A. Okay. What happened? Can anyone tell me? Everything is it centered? It is centered, okay, but how did it auto layout come to this position that it should only take this size and not any other size? How did it know? Yeah, so let's see what is the spacing right now. See, from any of the element to bottom, what is the spacing? 228, okay. From here to what is the spacing? It's 638 or something. So I'll press Command Z, and if you see right now, it is taking the smallest amount of space from the elements and using that as the default for auto layout. Does that make sense? We already discussed in the last class, right? Excuse me. Okay, I'm pressing Shift A again, so we have this. Now, let's remove the padding top and bottom, and let's also remove the space between items. Okay. Now, are all of the elements being contained in one single frame, and that is the auto layout frame. Okay, makes sense till here? To just make it a little bit more clear, I will change the background color of fill to something of more of this, so you're able to clearly see it. Okay, and if at all, okay, if I want to select all of these elements inside of a frame, what is the shortcut? What is the key? So not shift enter. Shift enter is going back to the parent. It's just enter. Okay. You can see on the left hand side, right? Right now it is like this. If I press enter, it only selects the children of it, right? Now inside of this children, if I change this border radius to 0, now you can see that everything is pretty much the same thing. That's because the border radius is not there, but in the background there is something else there, the red color, right? And now what I want to do is that I want to give a padding of top and bottom. Okay. Can you see this is the icon for padding of horizontal padding, left and right. This is the icon for top and bottom. Okay. So let's click on this, and or else you can click on the small little button over here, and then we have individual paddings. Okay. We can also do something like this, where we can actually give values with a comma separated list. For example, if you want a padding of top of 100 pixels, and then padding of, so top, right, bottom, left, that's the order. Top of 100, right of maybe say 50, and then bottom of 100, and then left of 50. I can even give in this comma separated list and press enter, and that's what will happen. Make sense? If you also expand, that's the same thing that we get over here. It's up to you however you want to do it. Okay. Okay. Now that we have seen a auto layout frame and then what is padding of right and left and top and bottom, we also have something called space between elements. What does space between elements means? Any children of the parent, whatever the spacing between them is, we can control that. So can you see the small icon? Horizontal gap between the objects. So let's click on that, and we can actually drag this. If I drag it, it will actually increase. We can do that, or even give a value of it. Right now, let me give a value of 20, for example, and we have spacing of 20. We can also do something like this, where we can directly come here and increase also, instead of going to the layers panel. Can you see this, the pink color, this dividers? We can do that, okay? And also decrease, if I want to decrease only the top padding, right? I don't need to go inside the container. I can just come here and decrease only that if I want to. I can even do that, okay? I'm just explaining in detail so that you understand everything, okay? This might be the basics, but it's fine. Now let me just go inside and give it a corner radius of this one. Okay, now I want to tell you something. Please observe over here. Now I want to align these items inside of this auto layout frame to the bottom of the frame. How can I do it? So you're able to see this alignment properties. You're saying you'll probably press that. Okay, let's do that and see what will happen. Right now it's to the left, but is it aligned to the left? Okay, let's try it in center or bottom or top or anything. So why is that not happening? Not constraints, padding. Yeah. Why is it not being aligned? Because right now the auto layout frame is in such a way that it can only contain the children of that auto layout frame. And on top of it, what are the extra values that we have given? Padding and gap between elements. So all it knows is that calculate the width of this whole thing plus the top padding, bottom padding, right padding, left padding, and the gap between elements. That is the width and height of the parent element, nothing more. That is the reason we are not able to shift these elements inside to any other areas. What if we want to do that? How can we do it? If at all we want to do it, what is the possibility that we can do it? Anyone who used auto layout in practice? Okay, let's see. If we remove padding in this one, 0, 0. Okay, now I click on it, bottom. Okay, I'll change the width and height from hug to fixed and fixed, fixed, fixed. Okay, now click on it. Guys, I want you to think of it, okay? Please just like think why it is not happening. Anyone? You can try it on yourselves and see why it is not working. Just like give it a try, quick try. You can copy this and paste it in your own file. Sorry? Position on the axis. What do you mean? Like this axis? Okay. Alright, we'll get to it. You're saying something? Okay, you're saying the size of the frame. Okay, for everyone, please once take a look over here. The reason why it was not working before is that previously it was already set to hug contents and hug contents. Now can someone tell me what does hug contents mean? What does hug contents mean? So imagine there are child elements inside of a frame. If the child elements already having a particular width and height, for example, each of this box has a width and height, it's already fixed. And then on top of it, if it has any padding or margin or any other gap between items, it will calculate all of it and then hug all of them together. That is what hug contents means. Does it make sense? Yes. So right now in this particular frame, we are saying hug and hug. And what is the only value there? The size of each of this box and the gap between them. As you can see, 24 gap, right? If I even remove that gap, then what is it? It's only hugging to the elements. The extra space what you're seeing over here is also the corner radius. So it's exactly matching to the size of the width of the box. Okay till here, right? Silence. Okay, now what if I expand this box size? What will happen? So for example, please observe these properties. Right now it's set to hug and hug, right? But whenever I expand this box size, did the hug and hug go away over here? In other words, the box previously was restricted to only be the size of whatever the contents are of inside of it. Now we have manually dragged the box, so now it has become a fixed size of element. It's not hug anymore. So if you click on this right now, can you see that it's a fixed width and it's a fixed height? Yes. So now, once you click on this frame right now, and once you drag this, now inside of this elements, the child elements are only till this part. All of this space is actually empty or any padding or anything. Is it padding or gap between items? Or is it empty space? Okay, now when there is empty space, then if you give the alignment, then things will move around, right? When there is no empty space in the first place, why would the elements move? Does it make sense? So now if you click on this frame and then click on top, it will come to the top. Now if you click on center, left, right, or like to the rightmost middle center or to the bottom, does this make sense why it happened right now and not before? Can someone please tell me what happened? What is this phenomena or why is it happening this way? What did we just do? Louder.
Yeah, there's space so that the elements could move around and there's no padding involved, so they are trying to publish the alignment.
Can't we not have this board? I don't get it. I want to explain things but I can't. Okay, so previously we had padding, margin and everything. So because of that, it already is hugging the content, so it's taking that space. Once we remove all of those things and we drag the layout, then it creates extra space, in which the elements can actually be transported here and there, depending on the alignment. Okay. Okay. Now when I click on this again, if I click on width hug contents, what will happen? Can please someone tell me? Horizontally, if I click on hug contents, what will happen? The size of what? Only the child objects, is it not? Okay, let's do that. Okay, that's there. But I'll do undo once and I want some space between elements. Let me say 20 pixels. Okay, now can you tell me whenever I added 20 pixels, how much amount of pixels have been added to this frame? When I added 20 pixels of space between items, what is the total amount of space added to the frame? 20 into 4, right? So space between means 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, not around it, it's just space between, right? So it's 80 pixels. So if I undo that right now, okay, I take this and then say 20 pixels, and now if I do hug contents, what will happen? It will hug it, but actually not to the whole thing, but it will still give the space between them because we are explicitly mentioning the space. Okay. And if we do hug contents to the height, what will happen? The height of it will collapse to only the elements of it, right? But if I add some top padding, say 100, okay, now can someone say, is the height anyway changed over here even when I added padding? Okay, let's say I add 200 pixels of padding. Did the height change? Why did it not change? Yeah, there is enough space to add the padding, as well as the height is a fixed height. No matter what you do, it will always stay fixed. We are not actually changing the height of it, correct? Okay, now if we do hug contents on the height, what will happen? So the height of the container will be the elements of height plus 200 pixels of padding, whatever we added, correct? So hug contents. Can you see what happened? Okay. So do you understand the basics of padding and this gap between items? Yes? Okay. Alright. I want to do something else right now. Okay, I have given a padding of 100 all around, and I'm going to kind of like take this container and kind of like do this. Okay, now what is happening? Once I drag the container, is the element still being centered? Did the right and left paddings magically disappear, or are they still there? So how do we know that? If we kind of like click on this right padding or whatever it is, you will exactly know where the padding is, as you can see, right? Okay, and is the gap between items still there? It is still in place, right? Okay, now what if I want to expand this container in this fashion, but still as we are expanding, I want the gap also to kind of like fill whatever is in the space. How can we do that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Once we expand the container, I want the gap, which is fixed to 20 pixels right now, to also expand with the width of the container, like equal spacing. How do I do that? Any idea? Auto spacing. So right now, let me go into dev mode. Okay. As you can see, when I click on dev mode, between each of them it's 20 pixels, and this is the padding, and this is the padding. What is extra space? This is the extra space. Even this is the extra space, correct? Now, if I turn off the dev mode, okay, and click on this, the spacing between them, and say auto, AUTO. Now what happened? The padding is still there, just whatever the space is remaining in everything, right? All of the elements are going to equally take space between items. Does that make sense? Now, if we expand the container, can you see this? Okay. Yes, does this make sense? What is gap and what is auto in terms of gap when you want to place? Okay. Okay, I want to also kind of like tell you one more thing. So imagine I have only two elements in this one. If I want to space them at the both end of the corners on the right hand side and the left hand side, then I give the same property of gap to auto, so that even when I'm kind of like dragging these things, right, those elements actually take whatever is the available space as gap. Does that make sense? So in some layouts, you want one thing to be on the left hand side and one thing to be on the right hand side, right? In those situations, this can be very useful for you. Okay. Yes. 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 Also, please look at this. So I want to also show you one more thing before I just like explain your question. So whenever I'm contracting this, right, can you see that the elements are actually being placed on top of each other? Let me just like demonstrate that to you in a different way. Maybe fill. Okay, can you see that the overlap? Silence. You all can see the overlap, right? Now I can also do something like this. So we have something called auto layout settings, and in that, whenever elements are spaced in this fashion, right, we can click on this and click on the settings icon and then say canvas stacking on front. No, I think it's a different setting. Let me just like see. Yeah, it's actually changing. I couldn't show it to you. Okay, please observe. So let me just give them a little bit of different shades. Okay, guys, once please observe. So what I did before was that I kind of like changed the height of the width of the container, right? We can also do one more thing, that is click on the gap property, and we have seen that we can give a auto element to gap. At the same time, we can give something called negative spacing to the gap. Okay. So if we do, for example, 0, can you see that the elements, and again I'll do hug contents horizontally, so they are hugging. And now if I give a negative gap, that means for example 10, they'll kind of like overlap each other, right? If I'm giving more gap, like say 40, they're overlapping a little bit more, okay? But sometimes what we want to do is that we want the other elements to flip and the other elements to kind of like be on top of them, right? So then what we can do is we can click on the parent container, which is consisting of all of the children, and click on the settings icon over here, and then canvas stacking, right? We can click on that and we can say first to top or last to top, so that they kind of like flip however they are, right? Okay. So your question, you're saying something, I forgot. Yes, let's do that as well. Let me just check, okay, first. Yeah. Everyone please observe. So right now what's happening is that I have given a minimum width. So click on the frame, press enter. We are selecting all of them, right? All of the elements. And then click on the width, okay? Inside the width there is a small arrow, right? Click on that. And we have something called min width and max width. I already added the minimum width to 100 over here. That's why you're saying minimum width of 100. What does a min width mean? What does a min width mean? A minimum width for any elements mean that no matter what the other constraints or anything is, a element needs to be at least a minimum of this much size. It can't resize more than the minimum size. If you say maximum, we are saying that whenever we drag that element, a element can be a maximum of this size only. It can't exceed that maximum size. Does it make sense? Now, for example, I know that I have given my padding and all of those things to these things, right? And I know that my what do you say, the width is 700 right now. If I know that the width is 700 is the minimum width, then I will come on to this frame and say add a min width and say 700. What this will do is that I can drag this thing, but when it comes to this one, can you see that it's getting stuck over there because I'm giving the minimum width. In the same way, if I click on this and say add maxed width and give it of say 1000, then can you see this extra thing it gave? Only it can expand till there. So I click on this and click on this icon, and that's where it can go till. Make sense? Okay. So let me again hug them. Okay, any questions so far, at least in this part? I think I have went in pretty much detail for you to understand. Any other questions in terms of this part right now? Okay, now I want somebody to explain me this. We have 5 boxes, right? In this 5 boxes, are each of the box auto layout? What are the 2 ways to know that a frame is not auto layout? So please observe in the layers panel, when a frame is in auto layout, can you see the small rectangle and kind of like square icon over here? That shows that a frame is in auto layout. But whenever I click a frame inside of it, can you see that the hash? That means it's just a frame. It is not auto layouted. Okay. So we can look at that way, or we can even look at the symbol. If the symbol is not on, turned on in blue color, it is not auto layout. If you click on the parent frame, can you see that it's auto layout, and here also it says auto layout? Make sense? Okay. Now each of these elements are not auto layout. So what is it? How is the element being centered inside of it without auto layout or anything? So does it mean if I change this text to anything, will it still be centered? So if I change the size of this, will the element still be centered? It is being centered, right? So how is it happening? Yeah? How is that happening? Without auto layout, I'm asking. When you don't have any auto layout on this particular frame, how is this element being centered? Can you see the small little dashed lines? Where is it? To the center. And where is the property to it? On the position panel, can you see that we have applied a center and center to it? So what are these things called? We explained in the morning. What are those things called? Constraints. Basically constraining a particular element to center, right or left, whatever it is, right? Okay. Now if I make this element as auto layout, what is the advantage of it? I'll give an example. So let me bring this out, okay? Alright. Now it is a frame. What if I add text in it? I say, what is happening? Guys, pay attention. What is happening? Whenever I add a text inside a normal frame, it is kind of like going outside of it, and is the frame being expanded? It is not happening because it's a normal simple frame, okay? So if I make this as auto layout, what should happen? So I make it as auto layout, and something weird, I made the width to fixed width, I'm putting to hug contents, and now it is set to this one. Now if I kind of like click on this and expand, can you see the whole frame expanding? So this is the power of auto layout, so that we can have elements inside and have these things, okay? And I can also give padding also to make it a little bit more neat. So that's what you can. And if you delete this thing also, it will again come back to the same element, whatever is the height and stuff, okay? This makes sense, right? Okay, but this elements can't happen in that fashion, okay? So can you please just like whatever example I have showed you over here, copy this and paste it in your own files and try to tweak this other properties what you saw and just try to play with it to get a feel for it, okay? Can you all please do it? In this meantime, if you have any questions, I'll come and clear those for you. icon in the top, it is not recording. If at all it's the case, please let me know, or else you'll not have a recorded session. Okay. From the next break, the break is going to be 10 minutes. If I give you 15-minute break, you're going to come 5 minutes extra after that. So I'll give 10 minutes, you come 5 minutes late after that, it's okay. Okay, please settle down. I just want you to look at these things. So these are regarding auto layout. Can you please read through? Is there anything that we didn't cover in all of these things? Please read through. And this file will be given to you guys so that you can also kind of have an overview of what it is. I have taken some screenshots from some videos so that you all have it. Please read through. Auto layout allows your designs to grow and shrink with the content that is added. You understand that point. Helps to maintain alignment as your design evolves. No matter what you add things inside the auto layout frame, the design kind of evolves and it will still be aligned. Padding and spacing are consistent in terms of designs when you kind of do this. You understand that point. Creating responsive designs. You saw in terms of how to create responsive designs regarding that. Okay. Basically the auto layout icon is in the design panel and there is a shortcut called Shift A. You leave this part for now, I'll tell you what is that later. And you can also right click on it and add auto layout to any frame. Okay. Third one. So basically there are three things. One is a fixed size, either to width or height of it. You can have something called a fixed size. You can have something called a hug contents. You can also have something called fill contents. I also discussed about the min and max values of it. Does this make sense? Okay. Padding. Basically any frame can have, auto layout frame can have padding and stuff, and padding doesn't need to be uniform. They can be individual values as I showed you. Padding top, bottom, right and left. Okay. Okay, gap. We can give gap between space between elements as a gap, and a gap can be positive or negative. Negative means it will overlap on each other. We discussed those things. A gap can be also a fixed size and also of auto value. If it's auto, if we expand the layout, automatically the gap will also be taken automatically. We discussed those things. Okay, let's go to the next one. So let me just pull this out as a third example. It's recording, right? Okay. Okay, right now you see that this particular frame is in auto layout, correct? The frame is in which auto layout? Auto layouts are two kinds. One is horizontal, one is vertical. The third one is called wrap, which is like a wrap. What is the case over here? Okay, if you want it to vertical, what should we do? The second option. Okay, now it is in vertical. Okay, now in this vertical fashion, if I want to be aligned, so right now, for example, let's give the width and height are to set okay. So right now this is the case. Okay, we have, I'll put on dev mode so that you can see it. Okay, we have top, right, left and bottom all to 100. Okay, that is the padding and these things. Now if I'm going to give an alignment, I'm going to remove the dev mode. Now if I'm going to give an alignment of center, what will happen? What will happen? So what was the spacing? So this is already occupied, this is already occupied, this is already occupied. Only the space which is available over here, it will only come centered to those spacing, right? As you can see this one. If I go to right, will it go all the way to the right hand side? Only to the padding point, right? So I can do that. Okay, this is clear so far? Okay. So let's do the horizontal again. Okay, there is a third property called wrap. Okay, I want to show you that. So right now, if I click on the small little icon, can you see it? It's called wrap. Okay, you don't need to worry about this one. It's called grid, and that's also very useful, but that's in beta. I don't want to explain that. So let's click on this wrap property. Okay, now that we clicked on wrap, do you see that it's being activated? But did anything happen in here in the layout? Okay, nothing happened. So right now, let's do this. If we expand the layout, what will happen? Yeah, what's happening? The items are still at center because we have the element of center in here, that is okay. But what if we contract the layout? Yes, what's happening? It's wrapping. So when does this wrap occur? Why does it not occur when we expand the layout, and why does it only occur when we contract the layout? How do we decide that there is not enough space? I mean, how do we know? Anyone? See, why is it wrapping? Because first, a mandatory space is, that is on the left and right there is 100 of padding that is already there. It can't be changed, right? So excluding that, whatever is the space which, for example, this item can fit over here, it is able to. So the second item is able to fit there, it is able to. The third item, yes. If the width of the item, including the padding, is not able to fit there anymore on the same line, if that is happening, then the elements will wrap. Does that make sense? Okay, so if I wrap it, the moment the third element is not able to fit there, it will wrap. Yes, so that is called wrapping. And right now I want to show you one more thing. So till now we have seen element alignment in terms of when there is only one single row or one single vertical column. But what will happen if it's a two-dimensional layout where it has two rows or three rows? For example, I'm going to do this. I'm going to D. Okay, we have all of these things, right? And now, can you see that right now in this fashion, there are actually two little things in everything, top and bottom, as if like two columns, because it's wrapping, right? So now, and previously when it is vertical, we used to have only horizontal space between items. If it's vertical, it's only vertical. If it's horizontal, horizontal space between items. Right now, can you see that there are two properties, vertical and horizontal? Because they are in two columns. Does that make sense? Okay. So right now, let's give this. So horizontal gap, I say 40. So what is that horizontal gap? Space between this items, right? Yes, makes sense. So let's click on this again, and can you see that the horizontal gap automatically added to the this one, the vertical also is 40 because it's being defaulted. We can see this as 0 also. That means vertically there is no gap. We can also expand and give more gap, maybe 100, so if we want more gap. So does that make sense? What is gap over there when this in two lines? Okay, let's try this right now. So instead of removing the padding of 0, 100 and 100, right now everything is removed. Right now it is in the center, so you can see all of these properties are centered. So let's actually expand them a little bit. Okay, in this way. Now let me expand the container. So whenever I do this, what is happening? The container is not anymore having a hug contents or fixed size. It's actually becoming a fixed size figure. Does that make sense? Now in this fashion, if I want all of them to be on the right hand side, do you see? On the left hand side or on the bottom or on the top, because there is no padding or anything. Does this make sense? Yes guys? Okay. So I'm going to keep them in the center again. I'm going to leave that at it. Okay. Now imagine I set this, I'm going to take a duplicate of this, come here, and I'm going to set this width and height to hug. Height to hug. Okay. So everything is like this, right? And I'm also going to give a padding of 100 on all sides. Okay, this is there. Now, is this an auto layout? Is all of these elements inside auto layout? Yes or no? You can see this icon, right? It's active and it's also in wrap. Okay, wrap will only get activated when there is no enough space for them to stay in the same line, or else it will stay in the same line. Okay, makes sense, right? Now, can I actually reorder these elements? Can I actually reorder these elements? Why? Because they are already in auto layout. So I can click on any element and actually reorder them in any fashion that we want. So that's also there, correct? But what if I want a particular element to actually be certainly like in the topmost rightmost corner? For example, like a notification dot, somewhere not in the layout but somewhere outside. So how can we do it? Anybody knows any idea? So you can click on any element, and if you are going to click this, can you see ignore auto layout? If the element is already inside of your auto layout frame if we click on a particular element and click on ignore auto layout, now what happened? What happened? What happened? I'll undo it again. Okay. What happened? Anyone? Okay, I'll do it once again. So I'll put this in pink color. Okay, please observe. What's happening? So the option for us was that ignore auto layout. In other words, that particular element should not be constricted by the restrictions and boundaries of what auto layout has put on it, right? So where did the other element go? Why did this happen? So if I move this right now, can you see that the element is just behind of it? In other words, because this element is being taken out of the flow of auto layout, the auto layout doesn't need to worry about whether this element is there or whether we need to provide enough spacing or margin to this element. Does that make sense? In other words, we are ignoring this element of the auto layout. Okay. Now we can manually place this element inside any of it, for example, to the top corner or wherever it is. Now I want to ask you one more question. So for example, I'm placing the element over here to the top, and whenever I expand my layout, I want this element to also come with the layout only to the right hand side. How will that happen? So now if I do this, is the element moving? So what if I want the element also to come with the layout to the right hand side, always stay in the right hand side no matter what? What should I do? I should, with the red line. Okay, fill container. Okay, so you're saying, for example, we have this, and observe over here, this particular frame, the icon of it is also changed. See, you have this small little this thing that's saying that it's more of absolutely positioned or placed outside of it. Now you are saying that if we kind of like make it a frame in itself, which I made just now, auto layout, and then you're saying expand. No, I'm asking. So no, if you say something wrong, it's okay, right? But I want to understand what you're trying to say. Yeah. Yeah, if we expand that, then the box will also expand to the whole thing, right? I don't want the size of the box to change. I want the box to stay in the same place but only move with the layout, right? So let's try that. Yeah, so these are the constraints, right? So right now, where is the box constrained to? Left. You can see the dotted line, right? It's constrained to left, right? So what if I change the constraint to right? And now if we kind of like change this. Yes? Make sense? Okay, but what if I do this way? It's okay, but what if I want the box to also move as we kind of like drag it vertically? I don't want to change the size of the box, I just want the box to move. If I want to change the size of the box, then if I do scale, the box will also scale. But I just want the position of the box to also move down as my layout is expanded. How can I do that? So it's constrained to top right now. I can put it to bottom. Okay. Now I click on it. Yes. It's constrained to the bottom, right? So wherever it is, whenever we are pulling it down, it will only be constrained to the same space, no matter what. Make sense? Okay. Now I want to tell you one more thing. So if I take this element to the corner, can you see that the element is being off from that container? So in those cases, we can, so this element is being clipped off, right? What is it being clipped off in? In the parent container, right? So I click on the parent container which is clipping off the child element, and then there is an option called clip content. Can you see that? So I can uncheck that, and then I'll be able to see my element. Okay. So for example, if I want to make this as a notification bubble, I'll say 100 of the whatever it is, like the corner radius, and now this stays over here. And I can also put this as, see, right now if I expand this, do I want this also to change? It should always stay in the top, right? It makes sense. So I'll click this element and I'll say to the top only. And now what will happen? No matter what we expand, it will always stay to the top corner. and every element inside is still inside of auto layout. Makes sense till here? Okay. So let's just go back over here. After 5 recap, right, we spoke about the gap and stuff, and now we can do it horizontally, vertically, and also wrap. We just discussed those things, okay? And then whenever we position these things inside of those things, we get 2 different columns or whatever it is, and we can actually align those things. We also spoke about that, okay? And then ignoring a particular element inside of a auto layout frame so that it can be positioned in a particular space. We also discussed about this. Does this all make sense to you guys? What is auto layout right now, at least in this sense? Do you want to practice for a second, or should I? So I have taken up all of these examples. These are all in auto layout frames so that I can explain you, and you also can manually practice in the class. Do you want to go to these things right now, or do you want to fiddle with these examples? Your choice. See, I have been screaming on top of my lungs. I have been not feeling that great. Yesterday is my birthday. I still kind of like, thank you. But I wanted to prepare for the class so that I can tell you in the most easiest way possible. Okay, so you please try to do a little bit from your side. Respond at least yes, no. Okay, should we stay over here? Next one. Okay. Okay, we'll take this example, but before that I just want to show you these things. Hold on. Everyone please observe over here. I'll bring all of these examples out, and also I'll bring this one. Let me just like put 100% opacity so that you're able to see these things. Okay. Okay, please observe. So what I wanted to show was that everything what is being created in all of this different, these are all actually my personal projects where I kind of like did something and used auto layout so that I wanted to explain those things directly to you. So look at this one. When I expand, please observe what is happening. The image is expanding and also the whole thing. And when I contract, it's also coming to this one. So whereas the image is also kind of like expanding and it's still fitting and everything. This can be 100% done in auto layout as it is, okay? So if you really know how to use auto layout, you can make layouts in this fashion, okay? What about this one? So check this out. Yes, okay. And then the next example. Over here it's a little bit more complex, right? So let's look at this. So can anyone tell me what is complex about this? The color bars. It's not only the color bars are expanding, they're actually expanding exactly the percentage of whatever it is. So that is what is complex about it, right? So, and I can also make it all the way to one single line. And can you also observe one more thing? When the text is not fitting anymore, it's actually saying dot, dot, dot. We can do these things, and also everything came in one single line, and if we don't want that, it can also go all the way over here. And even you can still see, critical is still 3% almost. It's being accurate in terms of whatever it's saying. We can do that as well. No, we can, I'll explain you how to do it, okay? Okay, then the next one is silence, this one. So you can see right now we have this layout where we have the title, the paragraph, and then 2 other things. Can anyone tell me how are these elements being separated to the right and left corners? So I click on this, I expand. Can you see that they are still to the corners? I just explained in the previous session. How do we do that? That's one way to do it, but what's the easiest way to do it? Gap, auto. It will automatically to the corners, right? So I can go all this way like this to one single line and still it's in the same fashion, or I can come all the way like this and still it's coming. And I can come all the way, and can you see that even this thing's collapsed into one single line? Yes. So can we say that these are more dynamic layouts in terms of however we use them? Okay. Now I want to explain you all of these layouts, but where do we start? I think I want to maybe tell two of these things. Maybe I'll tell this one and even this one, like literally do it with you guys so that you understand. This might be a little bit simpler and this might be a little bit more complex. So let's start with this one. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I also wanted to show you this. So even this container. Now, is this a little bit more complex? We have a frame, we have 3 different cards and everything, and we expand it. And the images are expanding, contracting, and everything is still coming in. Okay. So I just wanted to give you all of the different examples and possibilities what you can do. Okay. So I'll just like delete all of these things. Okay. Let me bring this out. Let me also log them so that you don't copy them. Okay, so right now I want to duplicate this kind of fashion, but I don't want to bore you with the nitty-gritties of what is the icon or what is the font color, font size and everything. Rather, I want to make like a layout of it. That's what my main intention is with auto layout. Now, I want you guys to explain how we can do this so that I'll do in front of you step by step. Okay. So first thing is I need a frame. How do we do a frame? Many people are doing something like section. If you press S and do it, it's not a frame. Frame can be only be drawn with F. Okay. And whenever we draw a frame, we'll get like a white background or something as a default. Okay. And now what is the first one? I have the title, so I'll just like type in the title. So that is what news feed. Okay. And I want probably, so I'm not going to worry about what is the exact text size and everything, just whatever I can see, I'll just like do it. Okay. And I'll put this and I'll put this as caps lock so that everything is that way. Okay. These are the extra properties of strike through and alignment and everything. And I'll put it to 20 pixels, maybe even smaller, 16. Okay. Or maybe even smaller, 14. That's good. So this one. Okay. What's the next one? The icon. So instead of an icon, I can put something like a placeholder, right? How can I put something like a placeholder? For example, a frame and fill it with some blue color or something, and then give this frame a border radius so that it's a circle, and then basically decrease the frame. So I can press shift and drag this so that it's being dragged like this. So maybe 12 pixels or 13, and I can change it to 12 so that it's maybe like that. And this is the icon for now, and I'll just change the icon color to this one so that it's more consistent. There you go. Okay, so this is done. Okay, now clear till here, very basic, very simple. Okay, now I want to do something like this. So this has like a circle inside a circle. So I will take this one as a duplicate. I'll get that outside, and then what I will do is I will create one more duplicate of it. I'll just like reduce the size of it to half, 6 by 6. Okay, and I will put the opacity as actually let me take this inside. Can you see that it's inside right now? I'll just like reduce the opacity to 30%. Sorry? Yeah, I'm going to do this outside of whatever it is. Okay. Okay, so now we have something similar like that. So that's great. We have a frame. Okay. And most of the time, even though we have a perfect frame right now, it is best to just put it in auto layout so that nothing won't shift here and there. It's already locked. Makes sense? So I will take this point over here and put it over here. So we have the point. Next there is the title. Okay. I'll just copy this text so that I don't need to type it in. Okay. I have the text over here. Okay. Bringing the financial literary gap for Gen Z. Okay. And then I'll even copy the paragraph. Oh, by the way, I want to show you this. So whenever we select any text property, right, there are few properties in the layout panel. One is auto width, one is auto height, and one is fixed size. Okay, this is only available for the text property. So if I do as auto width, what will happen? It will take up whatever is the space of the whole width of it. Okay, if I do auto height, so basically if I come this fashion, right, and it is an auto height, it's basically taking up, so in other words, I'm not doing this. See, right now is this element set to auto height? So when I set to auto height, the container itself will shrink to only the contents of it. So I click this, can you see that it's shrunk? Okay, so that's those properties. So let's just like click this and bring this over here. So we have this one. What is the next thing? We have two icons and some text below it. So let's just drag this same stupid old thing, come here, and maybe give it a different icon. Okay, and then eCampus News. I'm just going to copy the text over here, only the text, nothing else. Text layer and paste it, eCampus. There you go, we have that. And we have another version of it. So I'm just going to drag this here and then shift, option drag, and we have this. So more or less, it is not looking as neat or good as this, but we kind of like got a overview of the layout, right? But we didn't. This is more like just placing the layers here and there. Now nothing will change. If we do this or do this, nothing is going to change. We can't drag these things here and there, and elements will not change or anything. So now please tell me what we should do over here. You know the things what we want to do. The thing is, from this point, right, to the top, I want 32 pixels. Does that make sense? Actually, shall I put it in dev mode so that you can see it properly? Okay. What can you see? So the content itself is starting from 32 pixels, right? What about on the left and right? 20, okay? So what can I do in the first place? Make a frame, okay? This is already a frame. This one and this one.
And then you add constraint, top and left.
Okay, so the first thing is place both of these things in one single frame. Okay, why do we do that? Because if we change or move things here and there, we want them still to be in one single layer. Okay, so we take both of those things, and how do we make it a single frame? We can normally click on this and say frame selection. We can do all of that, but if we directly want both of them to be in an auto layout frame, how can we do it? Shift A. I want you to observe on the left hand side, one frame which is the icon, the circle, and then the text layer. If I'm pressing Shift A, those both are being placed inside of another frame which is of auto layout. Make sense? Okay, great. Now let's go back. And it is right now in centered, so it's not in top or anything, it's centered, so that's what we wanted, it's already there, fixed. Great. And now what is the thing is, the space between them. What is the spacing between this and this? 12 pixels. Let's come over here, and the space between is right now 14, so I'm just going to say it as 12, so that it's consistent. That is done. Next step. Next step. See, if you look at this whole thing, right, what I want you to understand is, go for the smaller chunks first. Try to lay out the smaller chunks and then go for the bigger chunks. Don't try to select all of these things like this. I'll show you like this, and then Shift A, because then everything will be like, in one thing. You don't want that, right? So go for the smaller chunks first. Okay. What are the smaller chunks over here that you can target? So something like this one and this one, we can put it in the same frame. We can do that. So let's do that. So tuck, Shift A. That's done. And what is the space between them? 8. Okay. Are 8, 12, everything what we did so far in multiples of 8-point grid? Yeah. Okay. So let's go over here and let's say 12 space between items. But something is wrong over here. What is that? It's not aligned. How do we do it? Because it's already in auto layout, we just need to simply do left and center. It's aligned right now. Okay. So this is done. And because I don't need to repeat this, I'm just going to delete that and going to drag this, option drag, and this is there. I'm just going to take this, copy the text and place it over here. Okay. Now we have this frame and this frame, one down. What is next? Frame them together. Do we need to frame them together or frame all of these things together? First those two. It makes sense, right? But we'll not frame them and then look at it why we can't do that. Okay. The next one is we can frame 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I don't want to frame this because there's something different than all of those things, right? So I'm not going to frame that icon. Okay. I'm going to frame only this elements, the title, the paragraph, and this 2 frames. So I'm going to press Shift A. Now what happened? If I right now whenever I press Shift A, it went into this grid layout. I want it either in horizontal or vertical. So let me do vertical right now. Now what is happening? This is all in vertical fashion. Now we can't actually put this element like this, right? We want them side by side. That is when we try to kind of like frame both of them together in one frame. So I'm pressing Shift A. I press Shift A, but it didn't change. What do I need to do? Change the layout to horizontal. Okay, now it is changed to horizontal, but it's not actually. What is it? So I'm saying auto. Okay, it's not changing. Why? Yes, very good expression. Somebody saying like this. Fill the container. So the child elements should fill the container and then only it can kind of like come all the way. So what is the property for that? Should I fill the container horizontal or vertically? So the width of it, I'm going to say fill container. Yeah? Okay. But I see that there is some extra spacing over here. Can you see below that? Okay. When in those situations, I'll just press Command Y and you can see what is happening. Just the outer layer of it. Okay. Or else you can also do like this dev mode and kind of like see what is that spacing. Why is the spacing coming? Okay. So go back and click on this and why is that spacing coming? Can you see that the height is actually fixed height and that's why there is this extra spacing? If I don't want that extra spacing, what can I do? Great. Hug, and now everything is in there. Cool. Next, what else I need to do? Okay, I need to put the dot and this one, both of them in one single frame. How do I do it? Shift A. Great. I see that the dot is kind of like going somewhere like, above. We'll kind of like fix that one. Okay, now please tell me this. I'm having this layout. Okay, I'm going to give this a fill so that you can clearly see where that layout is ending and starting. Okay, you can all see, right? Now, if I want the dot only to come maybe 2 pixels down, how do I do it? Say it. Huh? Padding. If I give padding, what will happen? Padding is increasing the container size. If I give 10, it will increase. It's not a margin, it's padding. How do we do it? See, these are all small little things, but if you think of it, it will be useful in your own designs when you do it. How can we do it? There are n number of ways to tackle it, but anyway, anyone? Alignment, okay. So we click on this and then say this one or this one, but what is happening? So I want it a specific place, right? Okay, in other words, you're saying I click on this and then I remove this by ignoring this, but what will happen, because it's not a part of the layout anymore, it will come. But in those cases, we can kind of like do something like this, right? We can give a left padding, or maybe say 100 pixels or 30 or something, and then we can align it at whatever place we want to. That's what we can do. But did you understand what I just did right now? I'll just do it again. So when we remove it from the layout, the auto layout is not constrained to even add this as a width and give spacing to that, because it's not there in the layout anymore for it, right? Now what can I do? I can add a individual padding from the left so that all of these contents will come a little bit to the right hand side, right? So I'm saying only to the left, I'm saying 50 pixels. It's kind of like coming like that. This is not affecting this in any way, it's just the padding, that's all, okay? Let me do like 20 for example. And now I can click on this element, and because it's ignored, I can keep wherever I want. I can do this also. But this is not a better way to do it. Is there any other way? Any other way? You already know the answer, just think. See, right now, this frame, right? Can we put this frame inside of another, listen? Can we put this frame inside of another auto layout frame and then give padding to it? Can we do that? Then it will not increase, right? It's being encapsulated inside another frame. So let's take this frame and then I'm pressing Shift A on top of it, right? So this is the small little dot, I'll show you. This is the first small little dot. This is the second dot, the overlay. And this is the frame which is containing both of them. And now, because this is an auto layout, can I give a top and left padding to this? Yeah? So let me give a left padding of say 10 pixels and top padding of say 10 pixels. Does it work? I think this is not clear, right? How I got this? Okay, let me just explain it again. Anyone understood this point?
Sir, she had said padding, and then when you did the padding, it kind of elongated. So when you did padding, now why?
Yeah, okay, that's. No, it was already an auto layout. No, it was auto. So I'll tell you. See, once again, please observe. I'm going to ungroup it. So right now, actually, let me remove the inner frame as well so that you don't get confused. Okay, let's only take one frame. There is only one circle. Okay, cleared? Now this circle is almost coming to the left hand side corner and top. That is already there. Now my intention is that I want it to move a little bit to the right and a little bit below. Okay. But if I'm giving padding to this auto layout frame, like for example say left padding of say 10, then just the circle is getting elongated because the circle itself is the frame in the first place. Okay. Now if I want it to move without actually giving padding to that frame itself, I will put this circle frame instead of another auto layout frame. That's the key. So I'm clicking on this frame, whichever is a circle, and then I'm saying Shift A. What will that do? That will bring this circle inside of another auto layout frame. So you can imagine this one as a container, which only contains the element. It is not doing anything right now. Does it make sense? Okay, let me give a fill to it, and then you might understand. Okay. Can you see that this is the whole frame and this is being contained? Now, if at all I give a padding of left 10 pixels, can you see it's coming padding of left 10 and then padding of 10 top? And then if I remove the black, it's as if it's actually moving here and there because it's being contained inside of another frame. That's the key. Does it make sense? So remember that auto layout doesn't need to be only on one single level. It can always be nested no matter what. Okay. And it's also better to name your layers so that you don't get confused about what is the container and what is the real content of it. I can think of only two ways, but maybe once I'm teaching the class I will find other ways. But yeah, if anyone knows any other way to do it, please let me know. Okay. Can you repeat it again?
Like how in this one, whenever you do this, the text also, the text box also gets expanded.
Yeah, we'll check that right now. Okay. Okay. See, there is one more way to do it. Can someone tell me how to do it? You just asked me. There's one more way to do it. Everyone, I'm going to remove this container. So, okay. One second. Guys, right now we have a frame and we have a outer container, right? If I want to only remove this outer container, which is the box, how do I do it? You need to know to add and remove also, right? How do I remove the outer container? Do I delete it? If I delete it, the whole thing is gone. So you need to right click on it and click on ungroup. Once you click that, only the top container, whatever is containing, will go away. Okay? Alright. So I'll just come back to you in 1 second. The other way to do it is that I want to kind of like give a padding to the whole container, top and left also. Then all of the contents will come, right? So I'm going to click on this and click on this one and say padding of, what is the padding? Let me just check over here. So top padding of say 24 and then left padding of say 16. Now it's coming like this. It's not still the best way for us, because we are not still getting the dot. It's going somewhere up, right? It's not actually coming to the baseline. But this is also more like a quick fix that you can do. Okay. So I'm going to remove all of those things. Okay. And I'm going to tell you a better way to do it right now. Okay. So now I'm going to click on this frame and going to say Shift A, putting one more container on top of it. And then I'm going to give that container a fixed size. What is the height and width of this circle? 12 by 12. Okay. So now that I have made a auto layout, right, I'm going to give it a padding of say 10 by 10. Now what is the height of it? Height and width of this the container? Guys, please observe, you'll miss something. 32. If I want to decrease a little bit, maybe I'll say 6 and maybe I'll say 6. And what is it? 24 by 24. If I give only 4 and 4, this is the height. So in other words, without doing any other thing, you're already getting the whole height and width of the container. You get this, right? Okay. So let me actually just put it to 6 and 6. Okay. Done. This is there. No, the circle is there. On that circle, I put another frame. To that frame, I'm giving padding to all sides of it so that it's being centered and being this one. And why is the layout moving when we are giving padding? Because it's an auto layout. Yes. Okay, great. So we have that. We have all of those things. So that's nice. And let's go forward. I'm going to. So did we already make this frame? Okay. Next, what is the thing that we need to do? What do we need to do next? So if I expand this, should all of them also expand? That's not happening right now. How can we do that? Explain me with details. So when I expand this container, what else should expand? Text of what? Only one particular text or several texts? Several texts. So basically, is this the container that needs to also expand? But does this need to expand? Only this container, right? So first I need to set this parent container to fill container, right? So I'm going to go back and click on this particular container. I'm not clicking on the whole container, but the second container which is inside, okay? And going to set the width to fill container, okay? And then what will happen if I now expand? Will it expand? Something is happening, but it's still not expanding. So what is the problem? I need to set the width of this inner container, whatever this text is there, to also fill container. No? So I click on this and I say fill container. Okay. Can you see small little thing happen? See, when I click on the width and say fill container, can you see this being expanded to the whole thing? Okay, that is there. Now let's see, is it expanding? Okay, the text is being expanded, but what about this one? Where is it ending? Is it filling the container? See, sometimes what will happen is that you'll have something text like this. For now, for static content, it's fine, but whenever you add more, right, it will not fill. So that is the reason it's best for you to even give this things as fill container. Make sense? Okay, now what will happen? Is everything coming our way? So all the way and like this. Yeah. So let's just like make the nitty gritties. So 1 second. So 8 and 12. Okay. Now Okay, I want you to explain this for me. See, in this particular frame, right, I have a text and the space between those two texts is actually 8 pixels. But the space between this below container and the above text is 12. So it's actually two different things. It's not 8. It's 8 and 12. But when we come over here, right now let's give us 8. Okay, what will that do? The space between the first and two elements is 8, what we wanted. But what about this one? Even this is, one second, even this is 8, right? But I want that to be 12. How can I do it? Okay, somebody else. Good, somebody else. See, the problem is in this auto layout frame, right? If I give it as 8 or even like 30, it will move all of them. I want one thing to be a little bit smaller, one thing to be a little bit bigger. How can I do that? One person got it. Anybody else? How can we do that? Which text? Okay. So the thing is that this outer container, whatever the gap we have given, right, in this container. So this gap is a standard gap, right? We want to reduce this particular gap, not this one. Okay. So what was the outer gap? That was 12 pixels, right? In other words, the gap between this item and this item should be 12. So that's already there. I need to reduce the gap between this both items. So what can I do? I can frame both of them in one container and then give the gap as 8 pixels. So I select the first element of T and the second element. What to do? Shift A to make both of them in a single frame. That is an auto layout frame. And now in this frame, why did it take 12 as the gap? Because they are already placed it 12 pixels wide, right? Now if I change that to 8, now can you see that this both elements have one gap and this has one gap? Does this make sense? Confusing, too confusing? Should I repeat once again? Yes. Okay, removing the frame right now, whatever I have kept. So in order to remove ungroup, okay, now we are saying that you click on this and why can't we just do this? So the problem is that when we do this, can you see that the space is being equally distributed up and down? I want a different space up and I want a different space down. So either I kind of like make both of these elements into one frame and decrease the space, or I leave it as same space. So that's the option I have, correct? So if I want to have a different space, then I know that I need to group them together in a frame and then decrease the space. Make sense? This might be a little bit confusing right now, but once you get used to it, you'll understand it better, okay? So let me just do that. First 12 pixels and take both of these items, shift A, and then put it as 8 pixels. Okay, so that is there. So still everything is neat and clean. Let's see. Okay, great. Now one more thing. I don't want my content, which means this one, to go all the way to the right hand side corner. I want a little bit of spacing. What should I do? Guys, please observe. I'm saying I don't want this 10 hours ago to go all the way to the right hand side. I want a little bit of spacing from this corner. How can I do that? Make a container. No. No. Padding for what? No. If you don't need to make a frame, you don't need to make a frame. If you're already able to do it without making a frame, you should be able to do it, right? Can we give a padding to this particular frame only to the right hand side and it will move? Only that part? Yeah? So, yes, we already have it. So we click on that. And then we give, for example, say 8, and only that particular thing will move. Make sense? So we can adjust this properties however you want, okay? Don't make unnecessary frames. If you make unnecessary auto layout frames, you will get messed up and you will not be able to figure out what is happening. Only do it when you know really why you're doing it, okay? Okay, so that is done. Now, yes. What's your file? I'll explain over here so everyone can see. What's your name? Huh? Vedika. Okay, what's your doubt?
So basically I made this frame, but the text, I did fit container, but the text is not present.
Okay, please, I want you to observe over here. Somebody, your friend kind of like did this frame, and whenever she's kind of like moving this thing, the fill container is not happening. Now, I want you guys to debug why it is not happening. No, don't do anything, wait. Okay, I have this frame. I am expanding it. Nothing is happening. Why is it not happening? The first thing is the frame inside of it should be filling the container, right? So let's click on the layers panel. This is debugging. This is called something called debugging. Let's click on the layers panel. Inside of this frame, there are two frames. One is this one and one is this one. So that is correct. Which frame do I want to fill the container? Is it the icon? Okay, which one? Is it the second frame? So first I need to click on the width, and is it in fixed width right now? So I click on fill container, and then let's see what's happening. Yes? It's simple, right? So let's go back over here. Okay, few more things. See, right now I want to also do one more thing. So from the top, how much is the padding I have? From the left, how much is the padding I have? 20. So if I want to apply the same restrictions to this, what do? I want you to answer this clearly. From the top, I want 32 pixels on top and bottom. From the right and left, I want 20 pixels. What do I do? Yes, anyone. What should I do? See, right now this whole thing is one frame. This whole thing is one frame. We already have two frames. Now I gave you specific instructions saying that I want some padding to the top and left and right, so that everything is together. What should I do? So right now, instead of selecting this two and making another frame, they are already inside of one frame, right? We can already use that frame. So I just press Shift A on this frame, so that it becomes an auto layout frame. I'm pressing Shift A, and it became an auto layout frame. And inside of this auto layout frame, this is one container, and this is the second container straight away, right? And now what should I do? Add padding. What is the top and bottom padding? 32 was the top and bottom, and right and left was 24, I guess. I think 20 pixels. Okay. And what about the spacing? Okay, we can do one more thing. See, one thing is we can have spacing between these elements. Right now, if you look over here, let's actually do it that way so that you understand it better. I don't want to confuse you. So right now, let's just come over here and give a spacing of 0, or maybe say 20 pixels, so that you can just like see like this. Okay, you have this right now, and now whenever I expand this, what should happen? It's also filling. The reason why it's filling is because on this container, on the width, it's saying fill container. Does that make sense? So it is expanding this way. One second. Can you see that the height of it is also changing? So is this a dynamic layout right now? Yes? No? Okay, great. Now what I want to do is that I want to add this other things as well, so that we can have a full sort of layout and we can see everything what is happening. Okay, so let's come here and Command D. As you can see, where is this gap coming from? We already have given a gap to the container, right? 20 pixels, this particular gap, that's what is adding. So if I add one more thing, everything is like that. Makes sense? Okay. Now what I want to do is that I want to add a border below each point, as you can see over here. So how do I do it? Do I take a line tool and make a line between each of those things? That's what I do. What will I do? I'm hearing something. Frame? You guys look so alike. No? Okay, go ahead. What should we do? So I want to add a border. Guys, once please observe. I want to add a border not all the way through. I only want to add a border from starting of that point to ending of the point, not to the corners of it. How do I do it? Till here, at least you guys are clear how I did this. Okay, next, how do I do that? I just want you to think.
We did for the resume, like we added the line and we did credit container.
That is one way to do it, but is there a more efficient way to do it? Yeah?
We did that overlapping grid. So once these are boxes and then we did the border and overlapping border.
If you do overlap, then it will not automatically change, right? We want to add elements or do anything, and according to that we do. So it's not like we want it in a structured frame. So if we add anything, still everything should move. So what is the best way to do it?
We can actually add a line in the frame we have.
Okay, so what we can do is that, okay, please observe. Everyone please observe. So I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of these elements, okay, and I'm pressing Shift A. So they are in a auto layout frame. And then I can click on the line tool, okay, and then take this line and put it somewhere over here like this, right? And then drag this and put it somewhere like this. Option drag. It's white, so black. Yeah, there you go. And option drag like this, and option drag like this, option drag like this. Okay, we can do like this. And one more thing is, this line tool should be filling the whole thing, right? So fill container, fill container, fill container, and fill container. Okay, so we can do this, but I'm asking, is there an efficient way to do it? Okay, I'll just like take this and I'll option drag it so that you have a different version of it. Now I'm going to delete all of these lines, okay? In order to select them, I'm pressing on Shift and clicking on the line directly so that I only select those lines. I'm deleting all of them, okay? Now we are back to square one. Now what I want to do is that I want to click on one element in this, and then I want to give it a border. So there is something called stroke that you might possibly use it. We can use stroke, right? You told it. What word?
Basically, I said in the text box only, we add like a line. We were thinking there is something for the frame. Just for the frame.
Yeah, just for the frame. I'm sorry, maybe I didn't mention it. So it's called a stroke, okay? So we can give a stroke, and in the stroke also, we don't need to give a stroke to all directions. We can only give it to the bottom, right? But right now, the stroke is being attached to this one, right? I want spacing. How do I do that? Stroke is normally to the corner of it. If I give padding, will it increase? Let's see. Let's check. So I'm going to give padding of bottom of say 20 pixels. Can you see that the stroke is always attached to the corner of it? Make sense? Okay. Now what is it? What can I do next? So I want all of them to be separated with this line, and this line should only be to the corner of this frame. It's starting over here, so it's not ending over here. So that's all set, right? So now what I'll do is, I'll just like delete all of this once. Guys, please turn off your phones. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to give a little bit of top padding as well. Okay, so actually let's check over here what do we have, my previous layout. So I have a padding of top and bottom 20 and 20. Okay, so I'll come here. Okay, padding of top and bottom I have 20. So we have that. Okay, and then on the and we have already a stroke, okay, and then I'm going to click on this one and then duplicate it, right? We have all of that, and instead of having any gap between them, I'm going to say 0, and then finally I'm going to remove the this one. Now can you see that everything is aligned? Yes, makes sense. Is it a better way to do it than adding line each and every time? Yeah. Okay, now let's click on this and see if, and I also don't like the line color of it. So click on this, click enter, select all of them, and then you can basically, oh, sorry. 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm just going to give it a little bit of more, a slighter line so that it's not that visible. Okay. 1 second, 1 second. Okay, there you go. And from 20. Okay, if we kind of like do this, now everything is expanding and everything is contracting. Yes, guys, is this a full kind of like blown out layout that we have done right now? Everything is expanding and everything is contracting. Now there is one last thing I want to do. What if I expand this all the way this way, and can you see that there are some things overlapping? What are those? The two eCampus and time, right? So I don't want that to happen. Whenever they overlap, I want them to come below. How can I do that? Somebody? Wrap. Correct. So what do I need to wrap for? Yes? What do I need to use wrap for? Which element? So basically this, only this container, right? I need to use wrap for. So I select that and I select all of the same containers. Okay, and then I'm going to say auto layout wrap, right? And then I'm going to do it this way. Yes, but maybe I want to add one more thing. See, if you come to this point, right, I don't want almost them to be touching almost this close to. I want to always maintain a specific amount of distance no matter what. How can I do that? Yes, how can I give a fixed spacing no matter what? Padding will give space around it. So I can give something called gap, right? Right now, no, it's already set to auto. So then we need to go inside the frame and give the padding only. Okay, let's leave that over there. Okay. Okay, but right now can you see everything is in one line? Everything is there. Okay. Now please try to do this on your own. That's what I want you to do. Okay. Okay, guys. What I want you to do is, please just like take a screenshot of this particular container, right? I don't want you to use the same container, or maybe actually I'll remove the lock for you. Okay, guys, you can. Okay, you can click on this container, feeds container. Please copy that and paste it in your own file. And try to replicate in terms of this only in this layout fashion. Whatever I just did over here, please try to do that on your own. Okay, and see if you are having trouble or issues. And you should be able to achieve this one. Whatever I showed, right? Like completely this way or this way, you should be able to achieve this one. Please try to do all of you guys. You can copy this one. Okay, this is only for the reference. Please don't use that as it is. Did you ask? Okay. I'll explain on that. You can come over here. Oh, actually, you can see it over there. Yeah, sorry. Vedika, right? Where is your? Okay. This is your file? Okay. So let's see. I'm just going to make a copy of it so that I don't destroy yours. Okay, let me expand. Expanding is okay, but when I contract it, they are kind of like being okay. So the reason is because maybe some height of this own one little thing is being set as fixed height. So if you want to see that, just click on that, and now if you click on this, can you see that it's actually fixed height? So the simple way to do it is click on this, enter, select all of them at once, and say this as hug contents. And right now something is overflowing, so the easiest way to do is click on the container and then say hug contents. Yep. And now everything, let's see. Yeah, wrap it. Only that particular element. Go ahead. Yes, I want all of you guys to practice it right now. So that you can check it. Did you already practice? Over? No, please come. As I have noted, whatever you do practice in your files will also be marked. If you understand what we need. Yeah, so take this as a screenshot of whatever it is, and you like make a layout like as it from scratch, so that you understand how to do it. Whenever anyone has any sort of doubt or question, please just ask me, basically, and I will. Here are the three guys who are nicely like working on this. Yeah, LED is okay. Where the hell did I do it? Okay, let's take this point. Okay, please observe. A lot of people, sometimes the issue they are facing is that I'll just like try to replicate it so that you understand what it is. Okay, please observe. Yeah, everyone can see this? So right now, whenever I decrease the size of it, can you see that it's actually not expanding to the height of it? So why is that happening? So is it because the container is set to is not set to hug contents? So if I click on the container, and you can see that it's the height is set to hug contents, so that is okay. So what is the issue? I have seen this in almost like 3 or 4 different cases. Yes? So whenever you have something issue like this, right, you need to debug. So click on each and every layer inside. So for example, click on this layer, and inside of it, we have what one frame, and then this other frame, right? Inside of this frame, we have one title, so the title is fine. When you click on the para, can you see that the para is actually, the size of it is actually starting over here and ending over here, but it's actually coming next to the line below. That is the culprit. In other words, your text. So whenever you select a text field, right, on the layout panel, you have something like this: auto width, auto height. So you need to press auto height. Then it will allocate the proper amount of height for the text first. That is the overlapping area what most of you have. Now whenever you contract it, now it will be completely fine. Does it make sense? This is the issue what I saw in most cases. And what else? Forgot. Yeah, and many of you guys, right, you're trying to debug right over here in the scene itself. Try to get one point out and only fix that one point, and then try to kind of like do it, okay? If you do it over there, you'll get confused, okay? Is there anything else somebody learned that they want to share? I forgot what I told. Please go ahead. No? Everyone is okay till this point? Shall we go for the next one? Okay, it's already 2:42.
Basically, what's happening is that
What's your file name?
Lavanya Roy, 164.
Just tell me the issue and I'll explain, okay?
What's happening is that this is overlapping these two. So to avoid that, do I just make these into?
No, just click on that element, that row. Yeah, and then wrap.
Wrap.
Yeah, and try to do it.
Okay.
Guys, pay attention over here, please. Okay, is it enough, this example? Can we move past this example, or do you want me to explain this again? No, right? You're clear? Can we go for this one? Okay. First, can you try it out on your own before we take a small break? I want to see how much of you guys can achieve it on your own. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I'll show you the details of what happens over here. Please check. So whenever I expand, two things are happening. One is that this whole the severity thing, none, high, low, or whatever it is, right? They are all coming to one single line, right? And also when I'm contracting it in this fashion, right? They all almost come down to one single line, okay? And also this bar is expanding and contracting without negotiating with the percentage of things over there, okay? This is one thing. Actually, no, I just want to do something else before that. How many of you guys have felt irritated by doing this Figma, this particular thing? Because you need to change one thing and everything else is changed. You again do that and do the same things again and again. Did you feel that? There is an easier way to do it. Let me just tell you that. It's called components. Okay, let's try to work with that. Okay, please pay attention. The issue right now, what I'm facing right now is that whenever I change some sort of design in this first point, for example, it doesn't reflect in all of the other points. Again, I need to go and individually manually change all of them. Is it not? But can you see that all of them are actually forming the same single pattern? They're actually not pretty different. Only the text is different and stuff, but almost the same pattern. Yes. So we can do one thing about it. So, okay, I'm going to bring one element out. Okay, I'm going to bring one of the points. So, can someone tell me if at all I want to have a repetitive pattern, what is the repetitive pattern over here? Is it like only this part? Is it only this part? Is it like the line or the text or this whole box? What is the repetitive pattern that you see? The whole box is kind of the repetitive pattern. So what I will do is, I'll bring the box outside. Okay, I bought this box outside, just making sure that everything is still working correctly, everything is working, okay. And now what I do is that I click on this component button over here, create component. Can you all see that? Create component, I do that. But observe, whenever I click on it, can you see that it changed into a purple color? So understand that normal frames and everything are in blue color. If there is anything like a component, it will be in purple color, okay. I also want you to observe one more thing. When I click on this, can you see on the left hand side the small little icon with the small rhombus, the four things? That is in auto layout we have something like this. If it's a component, it will show up as something like this, okay. And now if I duplicate that, can you see on the left hand side what is the correction, the frame, what is it telling? One is the empty hollowed out rhombus and one is like four little rhombus, is it not? Whatever is the four little rhombus is the main component. Note that, very important, it's the main component. Anything which is a copy of the main component is the hollowed rhombus. Make sense? Okay. Now the advantage of a component is that no matter how many copies you make of the main one, okay. So you go to the main component. This is the main one. This is the main one. If you go to the main component and do something, for example, I decided that I don't want this 10 hours ago to always come over here. I want it right next to that only. So what I do, I simply remove the auto and put it as 12, for example. Can you see all of the below elements? The same thing has happened, just in one thing. So you don't need to do it again and again. You do it once and you reuse it. Does that make sense? Everyone? Okay. Yeah, but there are some things you need to know more. So I don't want to explain a little bit too much, and I think you will not understand all of it. So I just want you to keep this in mind, saying that there is a facility called components and we can do these things, okay. We'll get back to it, but right now let's go back to this one and do this, okay. Will you try it on your own? Yeah. And in the same way what I've explained, right, if you have an icon, just put a circle. If you have something like this, put a circle. Just make a template of it. I want like a layout version of it. I don't exactly want to have the same color combinations or everything also. Make sense? You can copy this for reference and try to do it from scratch. Can you please do it? 130 to 230, 232. Yeah. Okay, so that is called a variant. We'll actually explore that as well in this session. So, how far did you get by doing it yourself? One line. Okay. Okay. Did anyone do better than that? I saw yours. Anyone else? Yeah. What was it that you're finding the most difficult in order to replicate it? No, only if you tell me, na, I'll understand. Okay, I might want to kind of like explain a little bit in detail about some other stuff that you're not aware of. So, what was it that you're finding difficulty over here? So, is actually making this icon and this the title and then below this part fairly simple enough with what you have learned. So that is not the issue. Okay, what is the issue then? Okay, what about this icon and security, having them next to each other in one container? That is okay. Okay, leave this bar out. I'll explain that later. But what about this one? This none, high, low, critical, having them in one single line or contracting it into the wrap. Is that okay? Okay, so the only thing that you shouldn't have been doing so far is only the bar. So did you finish the rest of the stuff? Yeah? Yes? Okay, anyone else? Okay, let's go through it step by step, okay? Alright, so does this have any sort of pattern? Does this 4 elements have any sort of pattern? What is the pattern they have? They all have one single icon or something like a round disc shaped thing, and then they have different colors, but they have the same size and same spacing and stuff, and some text and some percentage. That too, text is black and this percentage is grey within the similar alignment. Is that a pattern? Yes, we can call that a pattern. Whenever there is a pattern, we can use something called a component, because when we use a component, we can reuse it again and again and again. That's what a component means. Okay. So first, let's try to create one of these things and see how we can create components and variants. Okay. Let's go back. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but there is a small little outer stroke that we have as well. So we'll do that. So I'm not going to copy any of it, I'm just going to see the sizes of it. So 16 by 16, I'm going to take a frame and then point it to, I'm going to go a little bit faster. If you get confused in any way, please just stop me. Okay. Oh, and I also want to do this. So I'm going to take the green color . I'm just taking away the colors from this. Sorry. And the last one. Okay, so just did that and shift A into a layout, and then I want it without a wrap and blah blah blah, hug contents. Okay, so we have that, and so you still remember the styles, right? What we did before. Okay. So I'm just going to add styles to this. So one is For the green, it is add a style, and then I'm going to give it a name of what we can call this more like checklist slash none. Checklist slash none. So the styles will come under checklist, and then inside of that there'll be a none style. Okay, you understand this part, right? Create. So as you can see outside in our color styles, we have a checklist, and inside of it we have a none style. Okay, I'm just going to do that for the rest of the ones. Checklist slash hi. And then checklist slash, what is the blue? Low. Checklist slash medium. I can simply give the colors, right? There is a reason why I'm saying none, low, all of these things. Okay. Create, and then the last one. Checklist slash critical. Okay. Now that I got my colors, it's going to yeah. Okay, now I can delete this. So we have our color combinations. Okay, now we are trying to actually make one of those things. All right. So let's come here. So first, the thing what we need is that we need a circle. So we'll take a frame. And what was the 16 by 16, right? So we'll take this and we'll put it as 16 by 16. Okay, and then we will fill the color with none, for example. Okay, and I'll give it a radius of 100, so it's round. And then I also want to give it what? Stroke. Okay, and I'll give the stroke as, for example, 5 pixels. Let's see, 3. Okay, that seems to be good. And the stroke color is actually this one, so maybe like that. Okay, so we have that part. So the total width and height of it is still 16 by 16. I just gave it a stroke which is inside of the element itself, silence. And then I want to have this property. I'm just going to take out the text from it. None. Sorry. Text none, and then I'm going to take out the percentage. Text. Percentage. Okay. Now we got the 3 things done, right? The next step to do is, what is it? They are all in a horizontal fashion in that single line. So I can select all of them and do what? Shift A, and then put it in the center. And I'll just like check what is the spacing between these things. So the spacing between this and this is 8, and the spacing between this and this is 4. Can someone tell me why would anyone space it this way? The spacing from none to here is 8. The spacing from here to here is 4. Why would anyone do it this way? Why can't it be the same spacing? Huh? Yeah, so green is more representing about what is the whole thing about. It's more like that. So we are trying to separate it with a little bit of space so that we can get the hierarchy, right? So because we have different spacing of 8 and 4, now what we should do here, we have the single same amount of spacing. So what we should do if I want to have less spacing in here? Yeah? we already spoke about this, right? I have the same similar spacing. If I want to have less spacing in here, I just select this both elements and shift A auto layout, and then I just give 4, right? Okay, so now one of this is done, okay? And we just want to make sure that even if we write none or blah blah blah, whatever it is, it's still expanding, so that is there, not a problem. So going back to none, okay? And everything is aligned and stuff. So we got one thing, right? Now imagine going back over here, we need to copy this and change all of these values and text and everything and kind of like copy. But the problem is that once you do all of it, if you need to change the main component, then all of these things will not change. That is the reason we use components, where it will be more helpful, okay? So let's come over here and click on this and create component. Can you see this button over here in the top? Create component, click on that, and now this is a master component or the main component, okay? And if at all I take any copies of it, it becomes a child component. In other words, it's a replica of the original one. But always know that there is only one source, only one parent. If at all you don't know what is a parent, right click on the child and then say go to main component. It will directly take you to the main component. So there is only one main component. It can have n number of copies, it doesn't matter. If you change the main component once, all of the copies will be changed in line. Does it make sense? So for example, if I come here and chose that I don't want none and I want something else, everything changes, and the color, I can pick some other color and even that will change. Does it make sense why it's called a main component? I'm going to revert back. But if at all I change the child component of some other, for example, text or anything, does the master change? In other words, the child component can override the styles of the master, but it won't trickle down to the master. Does that make sense? Yes?
So if I copy the component, I can change it in a file, but the component won't change. So if I copy this component and I change something, then the component won't change.
No, if you change the copies, if you change the child components, the master component will not change. You are just changing that one. If you change the master, all the child will change. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, how many different types of? Can we call these things as variants? It's like of the same thing, but we have different types, right? So, how many variants do we have? 5 variants. So let's create them. Okay. So what? Yes, we can name them. So for example, this main component, right? This one is there. Now what we can do is we can create something like this. Add variant. Can you all see that? Add variant. Okay. So now we have one variant and two variant. Okay. And how do we define it? Can someone please tell me what are the defining properties for this variant? What are the properties that we can give? For example, severity. None, low, medium, high, critical. Those are one property. What is the other property? So we can say severity, okay. And right now it's in default. What is the first severity? We need to make 5 different things, right? The first one is, we can give it as none, okay. None. So is it already there in green color and the text is there in none? So that is okay. Now let's go to the second one, and here, is the spelling wrong? I don't know. Okay, and the second one, what is the severity of the second one? Low. So I can say LOW and enter. But once we enter, right, did it change anything? We need to make those changes. So what are those changes? One is click on this icon and check it to low severity, and also change the text to low. Yeah? Okay. Now how does it matter? How does this things actually affect? Now you can take any one of these variants and option drag it out, and can you see right now that on the right hand side top it's saying severity and saying none right now, but if at all we click on this and change to low, can you say that it's actually changing? So we can make 5 variants of it and actually use them anywhere where we want. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to go over here, and right now I have 2 variants. I'm going to have 3 more. So plus 3 more. And quickly I'm going to change the colors of it. Okay, what are the colors? Medium. One more easier way to do it is that you don't need to click on the element. You just need to click anywhere on that layer and pick that color, right? And then go for medium, and then go for high, and then go for critical. This is a more simpler fashion to do it, and then medium and high and critical. So we come here, it's in low right now. If at all we change to, sorry, so the reason why it is giving severity 3, severity 4, severity 5, anyone? Any reason? Because I didn't add those properties over here, right? In severity, I should type it in manually. So that is medium, and go to the next one, high, and go to the next one, critical. Okay, now come back to the child component what we have taken. Now you can select anything and it will automatically wrap and kind of like expand. Does this make sense? Any doubt in this? Do you want to try it on your own once? Or shall I continue? Yeah? Continue? Okay, great. Okay, and please observe this. So these are called okay, please observe, I am naming the main component set called severity variants, and in that one is critical, one is high, one is medium, one is low, and one is none. You all saw what are there in that, okay? So I'm going to delete the duplicate of it. That's done, okay? So we have one for ourselves, and also I'm going to make this auto layout so everything is nice and wrapped. Okay, we got this one done. Okay, what's next? Let's try to actually make this part now so that it will be easier for you. Okay, so we already got done with this part. Let's actually copy this icon as it is, and also the security text layer only. Okay, and then I have a bar, right? I'm going to take one simple bar, fill, red color. I just want to see the height of this bar, whatever it is. The height is 6. So I'm going to make this 6 pixels high, okay? And I'm also going to give the border corner radius as 6 pixels so that it's a little bit rounded, okay? So we got the bar, and then a bunch of these things. That's all right. So first let's combine both of these two, Shift A, and the space between these items is actually 8, and below the bar it's actually 16, okay? So it's 8, and then from here to the bar it's actually 16. 1, 2, 3, 16, okay? I'm just placing it roughly right now. I'll put it in an auto layout just in a second. Clear till here? Okay, and actually let me actually do this one, okay? Housekeeping, we'll actually do that part. Okay. Okay, in housekeeping, what all we have? We have high, medium, low, and none, right? So we'll take only one element, any one element, we'll bring that outside, and we have total of 4, right? So I'll do option drag and dot 4, and then select all of them, press Shift A, and they are in an auto layout frame, and then also I'll put it as wrap so that if it doesn't consist, it can actually come down, and then I'll just give the values to it simply. So the first one is what? High. The second one is medium, the third one is low, and the fourth one is none, right? And I'll just like keep the severity scores as it is: 54, 26, 13, 7. 54%, 26%, 13%, and then 7%. Okay. So this is there. If at all I Yeah, if at all I do this, can you see that they're wrapping according to how we want? So that's already there. So we have that one. So now let's all make it together, right? So let's just like look over here. Okay, so let's take this and this, okay? Both of them into auto layout. The reason why we are taking both of them, can anyone tell me? See, there are three things, right? One is revenue, one is this bar, and one is the lower thing. Why can't we place all the three in one single auto layout frame vertically and just be done with it? Why are we not doing that? Can we see the distance between these two? 8. Between this and this? 16. And why is it that it is actually different distance? Is there a reason for that? I'm trying to tell that this bar is actually related to this panel. That's why I'm trying to coherent. You understand that, right? So we will combine both of these things, this one and the bar 2. Shift A. What was the distance? 8, right? So then space between elements is 8, and I want the bar to expand all the way to whatever is there. So I'll say to fill container. Okay? Makes sense? And then I will put this and this also in a auto layout frame. And what is the spacing between them? 16. We already have that. Okay, so is this the same as that except for the bar and its values? Till here you guys got it? You want to try it till here? Shall I continue or else? I'll just continue the bar bit as well. Yeah? Okay. Please observe. No. Okay, guys, once please observe. There is a question. So once I get it out, right, whatever they are there in this variance, these are the default values. If we, for example, select high from a variant box, you'll get the color, you'll get high, and then you'll get this 95%. You can override them. But because anyhow this orange color is high only, you'll always keep the high as it is. You don't need to change it. You only change the percentage value.
How did you add it?
How?
You just copy and still asking how did you add in the variant?
How did I add the variant itself?
Like after housekeeping the line, how did you add those 4 text boxes?
Oh, how did I add this text boxes? I don't know what you're asking, but see. So duplicate. So I'll just like take any one of this, get them out. See here, I'll take any one of them, get them out, and then select medium or whatever it is, and then I'll duplicate another one. If I want critical, I'll select critical, and then I'll select all of them and shift A so that they are in auto layout. Yeah? Okay, now coming to the bar, please pay attention, it might be a little bit confusing, so just observe. Now what I want to do is that I want to create some more variants, okay? Does this bar have a pattern? What is the pattern? See, this has a pattern, right? In the same way, does this have a pattern? Yeah? See, the pattern is that no matter what, at least there is one small little thing that can have different colors, but they are of the same height. They might be of different widths, but they are of the same height. We can use that as a pattern, correct? So what we can do is, we will select the same old bar what we have inside here and get that out. Okay, there you go. We have one red bar right now. And I'm going to remove the corner radius or whatever it is. I'm just going to empty it and it's just a straight bar. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is that I want to add stroke to it. Okay, and I want to add a stroke outside of it. Okay, and I'm going to add 2. Can you see the stroke? Yeah, and I'll also give the stroke a white color so that it's invisible. Okay, so I have one, and let me just put this to 100. Okay, great. Now in order to create this as a component, what I should do? Click on create component. We have one purple color thing, it's there. If we want to add variants to this, add variant button over here. and then we have a second variant. Great. So how many variants do we need of the color bar? 5. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, right? So 5. So let's create 5 of those things. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now let's add the same thing, the properties. So here also can we say that it's severity? Okay, and the first one is none in the same way. 1 second, guys. The second one is the second one is low. Third one medium. Fourth one high. And fifth one is critical. Okay, now we did it. So I'll tell you one thing. Right now we have given property names to each one of them. When I select the first one, what is the severity on the right side? None. When I select the second one, low. These are all there, right? But nothing is changing. The reason is because we didn't give colors. So let's give colors to them. The first one is green. And the second one is low. Third one is medium. Oh. And the fourth one is high. The last one is critical. Okay, guys, it's the same thing what we did. I did 2 times, right? We are clear till here? Yeah? Okay. Now what we want to do is that we want to create a bar which is similar to this bar, which has a orange, purple and everything in the same parameters, whatever the length is. Okay. So what I will do first is that I will take one of the elements, I'll get it outside. Okay. And what I will do is that right now, what is the width of the element? What is the width of the element? 100 pixels, right? So what is 54% of 100? 54 pixels, right? Simple question I'm asking you. Okay. So now what I will do is that I will add this frame. Guys, once please pay attention. Whatever the frame we have, right? I will add a top level frame. In other words, I'm putting another frame on top of it. So I'm pressing Shift A. So now this is an auto layout frame. Okay. This auto layout frame has a width of, I'm removing the paddings and margins, then it will have a width of 100 only. Okay, and this 100 is a fixed width, it's not going to change. And the height of it is also fixed height. Does it make sense? So we have a frame, auto layout frame, inside that we have that element which is also the same size. Now, if I click on that element, what is the parent element's width? 100 pixels, right? Now I click directly on that element, and if I type in over here saying 54%, fixed width. Yeah, now what happened to that? So out of one certain area, it is actually coming to 54% of 100%, correct? Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. How many were there? 4, right? Yeah, 4. Okay. Okay, what are the next percentages? Can someone tell me? One is 26, 13 and 7. So this one is 26. And the next one is 13. And the next one is? Okay, now we got the percentages, for example, over here. Now what are their colors? High, medium, low and none, right? So I'm selecting the first one, inside one, and what is that? High. Second one? medium, third one, low, and none. None. So now we have all of those things, okay? Now we can kind of like take all of these things out of, I'm going to cut them out. Okay, here are all the three elements, okay? Now I'm just going to command X them and then do shift auto layout for this and paste them inside. Okay, what happened? So in the same 100 width of pixels, right, we exactly calculated that, and we have one of some percentage, the other of some percentage, the other and the other, right? And to this one, I'm going to give a border radius of 6 pixels. Clip content. Now do we have this? Yes. Okay. Just to make sure that we don't lose our work, I'm just going to take a duplicate of it. Now what will happen? Now if I increase this size of it, what is happening? Nothing is happening. This is the main part what we need to deal with. What is it? No matter we expand, the percentages should still be in the same range. How can we do it? Till here, did you get it? What I did? I manually calculated the percentages, that's all, nothing more. Okay. How can we do it? Any idea? Huh? Fill container, we'll try all of those things, 1 second. Okay. Look over here. So this is the bar I want, okay? And right now we have a shorter version of it. But even if we expand the bar to all that version, I want exactly them to stop at the same parameters, right? How can we do it? Any idea? Fill container, who told fill container? Okay, can someone tell me what I should apply fill container on? All of them. If I click on this, select, and then say all as fill container, what will happen? Everything will take the same space. That's not what we want. So what we should do? Anyone? Okay, just telling you, look at this. So inside this, I'm selecting all of the inner elements right now. Can you see the ignore auto layout property that we used before, which will actually ignore the auto layout no matter what, right? Once we ignore the auto layout, can we actually constrain it? In constraint, do we have something called scale? So drag it, still it will scale according to the exact percentages. So I'm going to click on ignore auto layout for all of the elements inside of that frame. Okay, now they are not in auto layout. Now what we do is that we click on this and say scale horizontally for all of the elements, not one element. Now let's check what will happen. Is it scaling? But now let's see if it's exactly coming to the same width. Okay, and let me put a ruler so that we just know that it's accurate. Yeah, so that's how we can use ignore auto layout and also this constraint so that we can actually scale them if at all we want. This might be a little bit too nonsense, you might not actually do any of these things, but know that this is also possible. That's what I'm trying to show you guys. Okay, now yeah, let's remove this part and kind of add it over there. Control X, come here, remove this part and put it inside the frame. Amen, sir. Yes. Huh, tell me. I didn't add the gap, I gave a border. I gave it a stroke of white on the right and left. So if at all I change the stroke to black, can you see? Yeah, and also if I do clip content, you will find the full stroke. Okay, let's cut this, come here and paste it and then drag this up and remove the red bar, and there you go, it is there. And now let's just make sure that this is filling. Now if I expand this, technically they are not, so this part is expanding. What about this container? With fill container. Okay, now let's do it. Okay, we are able to get this, but the housekeeping still is getting cut off, so let's just fix that. So this one, widthwise fill container, and ellipsis. Do you see this truncate text ellipsis option? If you don't notice, what is that? Okay, so there you go. We have our own. Why is it going that way? Yeah, it is center aligned. So just like, yeah. From next time I'll let you teach. Okay, so is this what we wanted? Everything is happening. Do you understand the bar and these things? Do you want to try this on your own if it's too confusing? Sorry? The three colors I put in one line.
So basically, these all are four different parts. Now you made it into a single part. How did you do that?
How did you do that? I'll just show this once again. Once please observe. See, now we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4. All of the 4 elements actually have a container full width of 100 pixels. But in that we already made the percentage values and changed the variant type. This is already there, right? What I'm doing is that I did it in a faster fashion. What I did, I didn't select the whole layer. I double clicked on it so that I can only select that one. And then I pressed shift and selected only this part, the inner part, and then this part. Then I option dragged it outside so that I'm not changing any of it. Or else what you can do, you can select all 3 of them and you can say ungroup, and still you get the same thing. Does it make sense? Now what I'm doing is that I'm taking all of these 3 elements and putting in one container. What is the container? This container, right? In other words, this is already fixed. I need to put this over here, and this over here, correct? And is this in auto layout right now? The first one? So basically I can cut this element, command X, click on this auto layout and just command V. That's all. Don't drag it, you will get confused and it will go all over the place. Command X and command V, because they are already in auto layout, it will exactly come that fashion. Yeah? I'll undo it so that maybe if you need it. Okay, please try it on your own. I know it might be a little bit complex, but just try it. Try it again, you have the video. I just started recording again. Please pay attention. Now what I want to do is that I want to do this whole layout. So can we do this right now with what we have? Yeah? Okay, let's do it. So I'm actually just going to take this, because you know how to do this at least the upper part. Now I'm not going to redo that, okay? I'm just going to bring that out, okay? And then now please tell me, these are all different components, and can we use this, make this as a component? Is this being reused again and again and again? This different? Sorry? Please tell me loudly.
The percentage is different.
Yeah, the percentage is different. We can edit those things, but the structure and everything is at the same, so we can reuse it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this and I'm going to create a component, and this is the main component. I'm keeping it aside. Okay. Always keep your main components far away from all of your work, because sometimes by mistake you change this, everything will get changed. So never get involved with those things. Always place it away. Now, what I want to do is that I want to have another container auto layout में. Okay. And without padding, and just below this I want a stroke of bottom 1 pixel, and can be of something like this. Okay, and then I will also give a shadow. You have given shadows in Photoshop and stuff? Okay, 8, 16, and then you give maybe color of 6 or something like that. Okay, so yeah, and also can someone tell me, I applied the shadow to the main layer only, but why is the shadow being applied over here? Any answer? I'm telling you that, see, this is the inside layer. I'm selecting over there on the layers panel, and this is the parent layer. I'm applying the shadow to the parent layer only, as you can see, but why is the shadow not being applied to the parent and only to the child? Because the parent layer doesn't have a fill. If it has a fill, you'll get it. Okay. So we have this, and also the corner radius is 8. So I'll just like put it as 8. Okay. So now we have a content. Now let's take the component, get it out, and get it in here. Okay. We have that. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll select this and do 1, 2. Okay, all of them, and then I'll select all of them and put it in Shift A auto layout, and then I will actually give it some padding. What is the padding over here? Let's check. 32, 32, and the space between them is 48. Okay. Okay, so first thing is space between them, how much? 48. So click on that, and the space between each of them is 48. So we got that, and the 32, 32 from here. And what about the top padding? That's 24. So click on that, and the top and bottom padding is 24. Okay, and my whole thing is still this one. So height, hug contents. So everything is there, right? Got it? Now let's just check it. If we expand, everything's expanding. If we contract, things are getting contracted. Cool. Okay. Now the idea is that I can go here, and for example, in the what are the different things? I'll actually put them up for you. Okay. So one is housekeeping. The second one is security. Okay, and next is revenue. Next is assets. Branding. Okay, in the same way, for example, for security, I don't have all of, and one important thing, note that this is not a real-time scenario of all of your severity scores and stuff. You're trying to just make a mock-up out of it, a prototype, not the real data. So you can do whatever you want to showcase the data to them. It doesn't need to be accurate or exactly what it is, okay? So you need to show all of the scenarios. For example, in this scenario, I have 4 different ones. Maybe in this one, I have only 3 severity scores. Then what you can do, you can select any one of them, for example, the low, and delete it. And delete the low from here as well. Well, that will not work, but normally we need to expand it. You understand the scenario, right? So in here you can come and then change it to critical or anything. You can do all of those things. The whole idea is that now, if at all, I'm going to take this back up again. Okay, now tell me, if I change the layout of this thing, will all of these things change? Because it's a component, we did it, right? So in other words, if I want to give more spacing between the housekeeping and this one, so here right now it is 8 pixels. If I want to say that I want to keep it as auto, 1 second, sorry. Oh, because it's a fill container. Yeah, so if we say this as, okay, can you observe that just by the change of one thing in the component, all of the things over here, we don't need to manually do it again? Yes? Can you see that? You didn't see what I did? Okay, please observe, please observe. I'm saying I don't need to go here and change each and everything. I come here, click on this, and then I set this to auto. Because it is set in the main component, all of the other components whichever are there, the child components, everything will get it, right? In the same way, if I go here and decide at a later point of time saying that, hey, my low severity score is not blue, but I want something else. For example, a pinkish color. And then all of the low severity scores, whatever you're saying, will turn to pink. Do you see the power of it? That's what I'm trying to explain you guys. Make sense? Sorry? What is that?
When you remove the low from security, you need to again change the bar name also, right?
No, bar also. So that is not optimal. That is just like a, what do you say, a way to just put it over there. Normally, most of the things will come, but there are some things that we just need to show as a mock-up, a prototype. For that, this will work. That's what I'm saying. Okay? Okay. Questions? Too much of information? Yeah? Okay. Till where did you get it? No, you didn't understand how to make a component? Variant? Then what did you get? That's the same thing, right? Uh-huh. Okay, alright. Okay, in the meantime, can you please tell me this? So this resume, right? Now, we will do a small exercise, okay? It's called something like visual storytelling, or we can tell something like that, where I want you to observe this resume and I want you to visually tell me how we can use those things in terms of auto layout or what to place. Does it make sense? No? Okay. Okay, please look over here, okay? See, right now, in order to make this whole layout, right, first I know that I need to have a certain width, whatever it is, right? I have a white container, I have a blue container. We know those parts. We already did this part? Oh, I already told that? Okay. Now, what will I do? In this white container, the whole white container is of a auto layout. Does that make sense? I will actually show it to you like this. Okay, can you see the whole white container? It's all in auto layout. From the starting, it's 48 spacing, 48 spacing, 48 spacing, 48 spacing, 48, and then right and left 48. This all can be done in auto layout. You get this part, right? Now, in order to have this both stacked like this on the vertical fashion, what is the properties for this part? Have one text, have a second text, and both vertically aligned, auto layout. That is done. And then this part, right? What do we have? We have horizontally as one profile and then text, both of them aligned, and then space between items is 16. You get that? How do you do the profile thing in this way and make it all the way expanded? How do we do it? Basically what you will do is, you will take the profile and say it to fill the container. If at all the text also expand, automatically expand the profile line also. Does that make sense? You know how to do it? You come here, you take this as a segment and this as a segment and this as a third segment. But did you observe that all of the three are actually following a single pattern? You do once, you can repeat it multiple times. That's the idea of it. Okay. So you do one of those things. Huh? Yeah. So you make one point and this components and stuff, you put it into one and duplicate it and then put a job experience next to it. So the end idea is that I'm asking you whether you can do this on your own by whatever you know right now. Oh, exactly whatever is there, I want a replica of it. Can you do it on your own? Yeah? So I'm going to have your session day after tomorrow. Can you come to the class by doing the same replica on your own? No, the whole thing. Both of them. No, that's you for you to figure it out. Huh? Yeah, no, I'm asking you, you don't need to do it 100%, but try your level best and try to get to this level, okay? Wait. It is recording. Sorry? Okay, please observe. See, when you do it right, please make sure that you are able to get something like this. This is simple enough. You already have done those things multiple times, right? And also, when you, for example, contract like this, oh, this doesn't need to happen. It's fine because it might be a little bit tough for you, but at least get till this point. Can you do that at least? Yeah, with what you know? For the day after tomorrow session, please, everyone come with this resume populated in the same fashion with the widths and everything inside auto layouts and stuff. Then I'll teach you how to do it with components again so that you'll have a second iteration of it. Okay, makes sense? Thank you so much everyone. I'm sorry if I fried your brains a little bit more than normal. I'll meet you in the next session. I'm here for doubts if you have any. Okay, thank you. See you all. Thank you. And I mean, if you want to try, experiment, make your life easier. If you want to make your life easier, do it with components. Or else no. Ta-ra-ra-ra-ra.